Today is a very good day because my CultFx limited edition Merrow km7 Mark III Schecter is finally here. I did my best in that in mix there to, kind of channel Merrow a little bit. His style is very, very hard. My in mix track was definitely more of a dumbed down, like Merrow caveman in 4/4 kind of thing instead of all of his wild time signatures, but super happy with how it came out. How rad is this? Am I right? Now, I've owned a Merrow km7 for years. It's been one of my favorite guitars for a long time. I absolutely adore that guitar. I had it in a Blue Crimson Pearl. I featured it in its own video and a bunch of other videos on this channel. And I thought I would absolutely never get rid of it. I thought that'd be a guitar that would be a ride or die. And then they released that this was going to be a limited thing, and I fell in love with it. And I decided to move that one along to fund this one. And after getting it, I am happy that I did. In some ways, it's a more stripped down version of that guitar. It doesn't have his Fishman Fluence in it, which he's not with Fishman anymore, if anyone's not aware. He is with Lundgren now, so this has a Lundgren M7 and a single pickup just in the bridge. And that M7 is very special. I've talked about it on the channel before. I've had it on the channel before, but there is some magic with that pickup. It's probably it is one of the best 7-string multi-scale pickups ever. I mean, the M8 is famously the Meshuggah pickup, and it is for a reason. That pickup is so articulate. It's hard to explain. It has this just rich mid-range that is so good, especially for extended range stuff. It is really clear, but also fairly hot, so it drives things hard, but not too hard. Like, again, it's hard to describe it, and it feels really different from other pickups that I've played. It's just, I'm not doing a great job of explaining it, but and I've talked about it on the channel before, but it is just a fantastic pickup. Now, one thing about Keith's guitars that a lot of people might not know is the bridge pickup is actually slightly closer to the bridge. And what that does is, if you pick further up the neck, or close to the bridge, I'm sure you'll notice that it gets brighter or darker. And as anyone that's ever played on a neck pickup can attest, it's definitely darker and fuller up there. So having it closer to the bridge kind of does the opposite. It has it be a little bit brighter, and that's pretty much what you want with a 7-string, because you're lower tuned. You need a little bit for that lower tuning. You want a little bit of extra brilliance and top end. So I think that's a really smart idea, and mixed with that M7, it's a really, really good pairing. Now, the other thing that really sets this thing apart and makes it, kind of this CultFx signature is obviously that cool, what they call a chameleon metallic flake finish. And let me tell you, that finish was very hard to photograph. I mean, so hard to photograph. It goes, mostly from purple to blue, but there's also a really deep, like, coppery orange in there, and it's so hard to get that to come up on camera. You have to just get the angle right and the lighting just right, so it might not have shown up in the in-mix, but it's one of the other cool colors this thing can do. Other than that, it's basically exactly what you would get from a KM Mark III, same kind of features and specs that the one that I loved so much had, and it feels just the same. It feels exactly the same. It has that wonderful neck contour, one of the best neck contours on a 7-string I've ever played. And that neck is a really unique 9-piece neck, so maple, purple heart, and wenge, and that's all the way through the body with some swamp ash wings. Kind of sets this thing apart. But also on the back, it is more of I think it's just like an oil finish, really, and so it's all open pore, and everything just feels really tactile. But it just feels so good to play. There's also this super good heel contour that gives you all of the upper fret and hand access. It feels completely buttery smooth, like there's nothing there. The neck is a compound radius as well, 12 to 16, so it gets flatter as you go up, which makes it way just nice to play, especially as like a rhythm guitar, but you could obviously also shred on this thing. It is just in every way such a good guitar. And I'll quickly go over all the other features that I went over in my original video years and years ago when I first got that KM Mark III back in the day, and I was super stoked about it. So it has an Ernie ball compensated nut on it, these really cool open gear, like knurled hip shot tuners that I actually really like. They're really left to center, and they just look good, but they also feel good, and I can really dial in tuning very accurately, not having this big peg to turn. I didn't know how I would feel about it when I got this guitar originally, the other version of it, because I never used a tuner like that, but they work great, and you can really get fine detail in with them. And speaking of hip shot, it does have a hip shot high mass bridge, which is easily my favorite bridge of all time on a guitar, because it's got more mass, it's chunky, but it's got these rounded edges on it that just make it completely smooth, and like it's not even getting in the way at all. You don't really feel it with your hand. Just everything about this guitar just allows it to get out of your way and for you to play as good as you possibly can and get inspired. The neck has a super dark, just perfectly dark ebony fretboard. It's very glassy and nice, with 24 jumbo stainless steel frets, which again just feels super glassy and nice. Stainless steel is my preferred fret material. And then just like on the original KM7 I had, it has, instead of like dot inlays, they're like plastic or like mother of pearl or something like that, they actually have these aluminum circles that I think look really, really cool. I'm sure I'm missing something, but that's basically it for the features. Like I said, this thing's dead simple. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something, but that's fine. I've gone over all the really important stuff here, but I've gone over all, this is the main stuff, really. It just, in short, it's a fantastic guitar. I think the only thing I liked better about my original KM7 was it had this volume knob I'd never seen before. It was actually from Hipshot. It had kind of this ribbed thing going on. I really liked the look of it. I liked the feel of it. This just came with more of a standard knurled black knob, so I actually went and bought one of those Hipshot ones. I'm going to put that on here, and that's really going to be my only modification with the thing. But other than that, I am absolutely in love. I also got this with, they had a special edition case you could get. It says Merrow on it when you open up, super plush, nice. Just an absolutely gorgeous case, and I'm glad I got it with that. Just something special for a guitar that's something special, because I've mentioned it on the channel before. Keith is the reason that I do YouTube. I may not be able to play like Keith, but I find him and his writing to be incredible. I've followed his career for a long time. His music I find so inspiring. Musically, as guitar players, we both like a lot of the same things. Obviously, I love his signature guitar, and I think it's probably the greatest signature guitar that's ever been made, in my humble opinion. And I think they're probably one of Schecter's best-selling guitars ever, and for good reason. I just had to pick this up because, again, Keith and his music and everything he did on YouTube and to inspire me really does mean a lot to me. And it was cool this year that I got to meet him at NAMM, and we just shot the shit, and he actually took a picture with me and posted on his Instagram, which I know didn't mean much to him, but it meant the absolute world to me. So thank you, Keith, and you made a sick guitar, dude. Now, before we get to the Atomix and I go into the other gear I was using, there was kind of a funny little mix-up that happened with this. So one thing that was awesome was Keith actually inspected all of these after they left the Schecter factory, and I believe they also got inspected by Schecter when they came out here before they got to him, which I'd never heard of an artist doing with one of their guitars or one of their limited runs. It was super cool of him to do. And so I was super confused because I got one that had some flaws for sure. It had a couple of, like, it looked like it had been hit with some sandpaper, and it missed from the factory on a couple of the parts of the finish, and there was a little problem with the nut, and I was super bummed out, and I messaged them about it. And Keith, without even seeing the video or the pictures I took of it, immediately knew what guitar, and they realized that they accidentally sent me the one that was supposed to go back to Schecter, and they still had the one that was gonna go back to Schecter, but it was actually mine. And so they had just accidentally swapped the guitars. Fortunately, both me and Schecter are in California. They got me my guitar from Oregon super fast from the CultFx headquarters, and I'm sending back that other one. So it wasn't a big deal, and the one I got is flawless. It's absolutely perfect, but I just think that was kind of funny that I accidentally got the one that was supposed to go back to get worked on because it wasn't up to standard, right? Like it would go to the guy that does YouTube, right? So that's enough about the guitar. I'm going to talk about kind of the tones I was getting for a bit. I did plug this guitar straight into my Lischler Prometheus, which I featured recently. Absolutely incredible amp, and this pickup combination with how it's a little closer to the bridge, like I said, plus how just tight and aggressive this amp is, got a really aggressive cutting tone that almost, actually not even almost, it basically sounded like the thing was being boosted with a really tight overdrive, but it wasn't. It was just the guitar straight into the amp. And then that was going into my Two Notes Captor X, which does have my own blend of a DV77 and VM1265 IR blend, which I do have a Dropbox link down below if you'd like to check that out for yourself. It's free. Let me know if you dig it. And for a bit of a shameless plug, I am a Sweetwater affiliate. Now, you can't get this guitar at Sweetwater. It is a limited edition that was, with CultFx, but there are plenty of awesome Keith Merrow guitars you can pick up there. One of which they just put up and is so tempting to me, especially because it's a fantastic price. It's this 28-inch baritone that's blacked out. It's got this black open port finish. Everything else is black on it, and it does have a Black Heaven pickup from Lundgren, which is a super aggressive and good pickup and an excellent choice for being a baritone. Just seriously, I would absolutely love to have that on the channel and have it for some good low-tuned chugs. So I will have a link down below if you want to check out that or anything else cool from Sweetwater. Use my affiliate link. It helps me out, but it doesn't cost you guys an extra dime. But anyway, that's all the different settings and everything. Let's just kind of mess with it outside of the mix. An absolutely sick guitar. It looks so cool. It feels incredible to play, just like the original one did. It felt like coming home when I got this. I didn't talk about the setup, actually. When I got out of the box, it was basically in tune, and it basically needed no setup. I did a couple little tweaks, like the neck was absolutely spot on perfect. The intonation was almost exactly perfect. And then all I did was lower a couple of the string heights. I just got them into right before they buzz. But just an absolutely incredible guitar all around. They did fantastic. Hopefully, Keith, if you watched it, you enjoyed it. You like maybe the in-mix or something. Thanks for making sick guitars. Hope to meet you again at NAMM or just out and about in the world. I'm grateful, that I get to, make these videos, and that I actually got to meet the guy that made me want to do these videos in the first place, and now I have this super sick guitar from him. So would love to know your thoughts, comments, if you've owned any of the, Keith Merrow Schecters over the years, which ones have been your favorites, or if you have your eyes on some. But thanks for watching. Stay metal.